no IQ, low. He's a low IQ individual, our president. Think of this. We have a low IQ individual as our president, and he's dealing with steel. He's dealing with President Xi. We will start negotiation now. There's no games. He's dealing with Putin. He's dealing with Kim Jong-un. He's dealing with Macron of France. That's another one. He charged our companies 25% tax. I said to Mnuchin and the other people, go and tell them we're not going to have our companies pay 25% tax to France. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? I said, you have a week. You get them to withdraw that tax immediately. And they came back and they said it doesn't work. I said, you have another day and then I'll make a call. And they came back and they said, we can't do it. They've already passed it. I said, that's okay. Let me go. Get me Emmanuel Macron of France. Please get me. You don't mind if I go off the cuff for these stupid teleprompters, do you? Isn't it nice to have a president that doesn't need a frickin' teleprompter? Isn't that nice? Isn't that a nice thing? So I said, let me handle it. So they're going to charge American companies this massive amount of tax to do business in France. Who the hell wants to do business in France? Why should they do that? So they couldn't do it. They came and said, sir, I'm sorry, sir, it's too late. I said, it's not too late. It's never too late. They're ripping off our country, and it's an embarrassment to our country. It's not too late. I said, get me Macron of France right away. I want right away. And Emmanuel Macron, he's the leader of France, and he's a nice man, but he loves France. They all love their countries or feel an obligation to their country. But they love their country. But I love this country more than I love just about anything, right? I mean, I love my family, too. You know, I always have to preface that because the fake news back there would say he doesn't love his family. So I always have to preface it. I love my family so much, and I love my country so much. I love things, but I love our country, and I feel an obligation. So I say, I'll do it. Get me Macron. So Macron, leader of France, gets on the phone. Emmanuel, how are you? His name is Emmanuel. Beautiful, beautiful name, especially when it's spoken in French. Emmanuel. Emmanuel, how are you? Oh, Donald, I am so good. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for asking. How's your wife? His wife is lovely, by the way. And I say, how's your wife? My wife is so good. Thank you so much for asking. I said, Emmanuel, I understand that you are going to charge American companies 25% for the privilege of doing business in France. Oh, yes, oh, yes. This was passed by our legislature. Oh, yes, we are doing that. Well, it's not going to happen, Emmanuel. No, Donald, it is happening. No, it's not going to happen, Emmanuel. You're going to withdraw it immediately. I don't care if it's signed or not. It's irrelevant. No, we cannot do that. We cannot do that. This has taken place. We have talked about this for a long time within France. I said, that's good. I talked about this for a long time in my country, too, about 3 hours. And I said, Emmanuel, here's a story. If you don't withdraw that tax immediately, on Wednesday morning, this was a Monday, I work all different days, I don't discriminate. This was a Monday. I said, Emmanuel, if you don't withdraw that tax, I'm going to charge you a 100% tariff on all wine and champagne that comes into the United States, and it will start effective immediately. And he said, no, Donald, you cannot do that. That would be very unfair. I said, no, charging a tax to our company is very unfair. I said, you have 5 minutes to tell me you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. I will call you back, Donald. I must check. He calls me back. Donald, I have been able to stop this legislation. And I'm pleased to inform you that we will not be charging you that tax. But now I understand they're charging or they're doing something very similar. And a lot of it's already been passed again because they have a president that's incompetent. And you know what? I have great respect for the office of the president. I would never talk this way. I didn't talk like this until I got indicted. Once they indicted me, I said, the gloves are off. This guy did something that you can't do. Even Hillary Clinton, we didn't want to do that. You don't want to hurt our country like that and divide our country. This guy, this horrible guy, indicted a man that's running for office on the two-party system. Always going to be a two-party system, by the way. They can have all the games they want, but we have a two-party system. It was devised that way. That's good. That's fine. But they took the leading candidate who has the Republican, essentially has the Republican nomination, and very importantly, is leading their candidate by a lot. We're leading in every poll, every single poll, leading in the swing states, everything. And they've indicted him, so they did this in order to hurt his political opponent. This is a political thing. The indictments are nonsense, and you see that when you watch the television and the news reports, even though fake news, CNN, and fake tech, do you know fake Tapper is going to be one of the people? But they said to me the other day, sir, CNN with fake tap, and he is a fake, but let's see how he does. I think he's under a lot of pressure, to be fair. But fake Tapper is going to be heading up the team that interrogates you. I said, that's okay. I accept the debate. I accept it. You know why? Because nobody thought he was going to debate. They didn't think I'd accept it. I accept. Then another one called. They put out another one. I said, I accept. They didn't even tell me where it was, who it was. I didn't care. What the hell difference does it make? I mean, you know. So we did something that they were shocked at. They had no idea that, you know, they figured, well, we're not going to do CNN, and we're not going to have Tapper be the guy. And we're not going to have other people involved in that show that, you know, they thought there was no negotiation. I said, I accept anything you want. Let's debate. And now they're shocked. They don't know what the hell to do because they have a debate. But just remember this. We'll go back and finish. You know, there is a genius to what I'm doing. You do know that. I go from here to there, and it all comes back into a beautiful picture. You know, it really, do you notice? It all comes back into a beautiful picture, great memory. It's a beautiful thing. But remember what they're going to do. If this horrible, low IQ individual who's representing us, if this horrible person who's done such a bad job, worst president in history by far, if this horrible individual finishes the debate, which I think he will, if he's standing, they'll say it was a brilliant performance. It was a brilliant performance. They've never seen anything like it. Very much reminiscent of the days of FDR. You know, FDR was had a beautiful patrician voice, magnificent voice, great debater, very smart man. You know, FDR, 16 years, almost 16 years. He was 4-term. I don't know. Are we going to be considered 3-term or 2-term? You tell me. Ronnie, what do you think? Are we 3-term or 2-term if we win? But think of it. They're going to say, wonderful. Now, he did that State of the Union the other day. He was high as a kite. So I think we should call for drug tests on the debate. Yeah? We're going to call for drug tests. We're going to call for drug tests. So anyway, so Macron calls. See what I mean? Look, I start. Even I say to myself, you're a frickin' genius. Hey, look, I had an uncle, my father's brother, who's the longest-serving president. He's the longest-serving professor in the history of MIT. He graduated. He was a phenomenal student, a real genius, really brilliant guy. And, you know, I believe in the racehorse theory. Fast horses produce fast horses. He went to MIT, graduated. They said, we'd love to have you be a professor. He was there for, I think, 41 years. He's the longest-serving professor in the history of MIT. It's nice to know. Do you think Biden has that in his family? I don't think so. I don't think so. I may be wrong. Let's check. Let's check. So Macron calls me back. See, this is the final of the stories. Macron calls me back, and he said, Donald, we have agreed to do what you want. We will not charge the tax. How sad is that? There are so many different things, like buying Air Force One, saying I'm not going to pay for it, and not signing the contract. I said, who negotiated the contract? Barack Hussein Obama. Then I'm not signing it. Well, why would you do that? Because I know it's too expensive. I didn't know anything about the plane. It's too expensive. And I was able to cut $1.6 billion off the price over a period of 2 months with Boeing. We have a lot of stories we could tell. But the saddest thing of all is that crooked Joe Biden has turned your state and the entire country into a dumping ground for the world. In Venezuela, violent crime is down at levels that they've never seen before. It was 67% 3 weeks ago. It's now down to 72%. It's down. Violent crime is down. Would you ever hear that? You know, if it goes down 1%, we say, oh, it's so great. Down 72% because all of their inmates, their mental patients, and the dreck from deep in the basements of their most vile prisons, and they're depositing them all into our country. All their gang members in Caracas, Venezuela. Caracas, wonderful city if you'd like to. Actually, it's going to turn out to be a lot safer than our cities because all the criminals are being sent to us. In fact, I'll invite you. In fact, I have an idea for the NRA. Let's have the next year's meeting in Venezuela where it's going to be a lot safer than our country.